Cause and consequence, the Great Depression alphabet. Aid efforts by the government. The government had to assist people during the Great Depression. It was important that the government help people during their time of need. Bank of Canada. The Bank of Canada was created shortly after the Great Depression. Canada was a relatively undeveloped economy. Richard B. Bennett had people study how the banking system in Canada worked. Credit, the buy now, pay later philosophy. Many people were using credit to buy everything. Lots of people did not have the funds to pay for what they had bought. Drop in population and birth rate. The population dropped very rapidly along with the birth rate in Canada. Canada's birth rate dropped from 13.1 to only 9.7 births per year. The end of World War I. The end of the war may be one of the most important points regarding the Depression. Many jobs weren't needed as demand for them had stopped. Therefore, many people were put out of work. 30% of the population to be exact.
Farmers. In the prairie provinces, farmers struggled due to drought and dust storms, which caused them to have a smaller salary. Growing too fast. Many immigrants were brought over during the 1920s, causing Canada to expand very fast. They weren't producing enough as fast as they were growing. Hungry and homeless. Many people did not have jobs which put them on government aid. With so many people on the government aid, it was usually very small quantities of money they were given. Immigration. Immigrants were a large portion of the population. Over 30,000 were forcibly returned to their countries of origin. Primary cause of deportation was illness and unemployment. Jobless men. Many people were affected by the Depression, but one of the most hard-hit group of people was single men. Knowledge. Enrollments in the schools went up because many dropouts could not find jobs. Many schools had budget cuts which caused larger class sizes. Lowest wheat pricing. Wheat prices collapsed during the Depression. Wheat went from $1.03 per bushel to 47 cents per bushel in 1930, then dropped again in 1932 to 29 cents per bushel. Money problems. Without jobs, many people struggled making ends meet, which required them to be on government aid. People who used credit were also struggling. National income came from exports. The country was hard hit when the world trade collapsed. The western provinces, which depended on primary product export, were seriously affected. Overproduction. Canada was growing, so they started producing what they thought they needed, which cost companies money when it didn't sell. Primary products. Canada relied on buying raw materials they needed and selling primary products such as wheat and fish. Quebec. Quebec experienced heavy unemployment along with Ontario, but weren't as severely affected because they had more diversified economies. Richard B. Bennett. Prime Minister during the brunt of the Depression, he had to provide work for the jobless and insist that their care was a local and provincial responsibility. Stock market crash. When the stock market crashed in the U.S., it caused Canadians trouble because they lost a primary trade partner and a lot of the raw materials they needed. Trading. Trading was a very important way of getting raw materials and exporting their primary products. When the Depression started, many products did not get traded or were there to trade. Unemployment and illness. Many immigrants who were ill were sent back to their countries of origin, along with immigrants who were unemployed, although illness still struck people who lived in Canada. Very smart teachers. Teachers were pretty well off during the Depression due to being so busy. Many unemployed people returned to school, therefore the teachers had people to teach. Wheat Board. The Canadian Wheat Board was created mid-Depression to set a minimum price wheat could be sold at after farmers were concerned that they were being cheated. Ex-cons. Crime rate raised rapidly during the Depression. There are many factors that could easily explain why crime rates were raised. Young people. Young people were one of the groups most affected by the Depression. This could be because of the war along with job loss. Zoo-like conditions. Many conditions during the Depression weren't great. That's why this is just a general idea.